Okay.
Baby, baby. All right, we should be live, girl. Let me just double check. Meanwhile, I'm trying to.
I'm giving a vote.
Yes, give me a good vote, honey.
Hi, Book of Face.
Ah!
It's been so long since I've been on Facebook at all, really. Hi.
All right, I think we're live everywhere. Let me make
The other
sure.
places that were live.
We are live. Y'all, I got 20 different things going on over here. What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Lauren Denise, host of this Two Shall Suck podcast where we talk about the real of grief, the whole grief, and nothing but the grief. Computer, wait a second. I'm busy. Anywho, y'all, it's so much happening over here. My phone is going, my computer is going. It's a lot happening, but I am excited to have this guest on. We actually met. Oh my god! I feel like it's been a couple months at this point
I know,
now.
just a little bit.
It's been a long. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you. See, I can't act right. Um. Hey, hey,
Be careful that we
hey.
don't have the money to pay for that. So.
Right. Okay. Okay. Anywho, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Miss Denayja Reese. She was on episode 8 of this Two Shall Suck podcast, which you haven't listened to.
You don't want to put a root on your fans. Be careful now.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, that's it's an evil. It's a yeah.
Okay, well, 3, 4.
What? Now, okay, that's a claw. I don't know what that
Right. That's a lot. It's like a.
is.
Oh,
Don't
goodness
scratch
gracious.
it.
Oh, there's so much happening in my phone currently. I can't. Anywho, Denayja, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you, number one, being on the podcast and just giving so many gems, jewels, sound clips. I only gave y'all, I think, one. I could have gave y'all like 27. Because Denayja was dropping bombs. I wish I had a bomb sound. Pew, pew, pew. That's my bomb. That's a weak bomb, ain't it? But anywho, Denayja, I wanted to start out if you can kind of tell people about your. I know this is like a what is it, like an interview question when you go to work. Tell me about yourself. I didn't get a chance to read your bio, but if you could just kind of tell people a little bit about your background, and then we'll kind of get into what we talked about in the episode.
Okay. Okay. That sounds good to me. My name's Denayja. I am 30 years old. I'm an LA native. I
Yeah,
am a Aquarius sun, Pisces moon, Scorpio rising, and I have like 6 Capricorn placements, so I'm not normal.
girl.
I'm not normal at all. Never have been. So that's not fun. But most of my life has been really fun. I've worked kind of across industries over the years, mostly as a producer, project manager in the last 5 years on my own. I started a company last year called Girl with That Laugh Production. That was originally a full service event production company, but has now really become something else. And yeah, so like work wise, things have been interesting going from doing a lot of events in the last few years to doing none at all. And just so much of everything shifting has been really interesting, but it's given me a chance to tap into other parts of myself, like writing and philanthropy and like trying to raise money to support people in our community. We're all going through so much right now, and also just being there for my family and friends in a way that I haven't been in a while, and just really being a full 360 kind of person. So yeah, it's been really good. But that's me. Is there more? Should I say I'm like, I don't know. I don't have like the canned bio at all.
I know. What do they call the elevator pitch?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I have that, but like I don't have it in this moment.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I just wanted them to get like a snippet because if they listen to the podcast,
Right, right.
they would get the whole, the whole super formal bio of Denayja Reese, event strategist,
Right.
author, all of that, all of that. So I'm not going to give it too much. I'm not going to give it too much. But so we talked about professional grief on episode 8, which is titled "It's All About the Benjamins," or is it? You gotta do the eyebrows with it, or it's not real.
I love so much because it's like kind of half a little Kim reference too, which I just really appreciate, especially because that's really her song.
Right. It is. I mean, honestly.
Her song, so
Yeah, honestly. No, legit. I'm glad you liked it because I literally was like, okay, I don't know what to name this. So I'm
That's
glad you
where
enjoy
I
it.
am right now too, of being like, is it all about, like, I'm questioning capitalism every day, every way, every who, every how.
Exactly, exactly. Well, I'm glad you appreciate it, girl. But we talked about professional grief and how to kind of recognize what that looks like in your life. And so, a short story that I shared on the podcast, I'll give y'all a snippet. Basically, when I recognized I was in grief when it came to my profession, is when I started making excuses and was in denial about my job and how I felt and the negative things that were happening and the things that they were doing and the way that they were treating me. And so that's when I recognized, like, hey, you're grieving and it's not because of your mom or it's not because of your dad. It's because you are grieving this profession that you're in. You're grieving this space that you're in. And so Denayja and I kind of touched on that. So if you can kind of talk about, and because I think you gave some great points on the podcast, how you can recognize when you're in grief when it comes to your profession.
Oh, okay, so I will definitely say something completely different than I did on the podcast because God knows I can't remember.
No, you don't have to say the same thing.
For many reasons, which you would also know if you listen to the podcast. Why I can't remember a damn thing. It's a whole other thing. Uh,
Exactly.
um, I think anytime, I know I said this, yeah, but I'll kind of do a variation of this. Like, anytime you find yourself longing for something, wanting to change the reality of a situation, it's usually
Mm-hmm.
rooted in grief of some kind. Even if it's just the grief of, I thought things were going to be this way and they're not. Like, that's a big thing for me. Again, with like my Capricorn placements, it's all about planning and structure, and I think I can bend the universe to my will, and I think to some degree we can, but to much of it we cannot. And that's what makes it so special, when things align and you can manifest things and they work out in your favor. Like, that's not how it always is. That's an exception. So we have to really rejoice in those moments. And so most of the time when things don't kind of go the way you want them to go, there's always a mourning, there's always a grief. And I think nowhere is that more present than in work. And so I think that is kind of the first thing, is when you feel yourself like, oh, I wish this were another way, you're probably in grief. And so you have to let go of that other way. And that's so much of what grief is.
Yeah, no, I agree. Oh, wait, somebody commented.
Okay,
All
so
Capricorn placements here relate to this. Just popped in. Hey, girl.
hey, yes, child, the boot on my neck, that is Capricorn placement.
I
I'm
don't know. And listen,
tired.
Sydney be putting me on game, but I don't know what. I'm like, she went through like all of my houses the other day, and I was just
Yeah.
like,
You got to know your chart, know yourself.
she did. She did. I mean, she read. I was
Go
like,
back
oh,
to it. Go back to it. Like, I just found out. So the big placements for your romantic life. Here's some keys for this. Like, and I'm nobody's astrologer. I follow many amazing astrologists. I've been studying astrology literally since I was 7. So I know a lot, but I'm not a professional. So everything I put it in the Google and run it back. I'm just saying. But the big placements for your love life are your moon, because that's how you process things emotionally. Your Venus, because Venus rules love, like it's the planet of love, of beauty, of sensuality. And then your whatever sign is in your house of committed partnerships, that is your other sort of like those 3 things are like, that's your relationship life. So for me it's very tricky because my moon is Pisces, so I'm like trying to attract somebody to like tend to my feelings and like be romantic and sweep me off my feet and all those things. But then I have Venus in Capricorn, and then I have Taurus in my house of committed partnerships, so I'm like, can you pay these bills? How many
I
kids?
love you, but can you pay these bills?
Yeah, like, don't rush me because I'll do it when I want to do. Like, it's a lot. So I'm just
This
like looking
girl.
at that and I'm like, oh wow, like, no wonder I've been single for so long.
Oh my God. We're gonna dive into that later. I'm not gonna play with Denayja today, but y'all know Sydney was on here last time I did a live, and I feel like that was so long ago. But so y'all just got another basically astrology lesson, you know. So you're welcome. So you said what, boo? Oh,
I
you
said
said what?
so much. It just helps. Like, it helps you to interpret things and get. It doesn't have all the answers, but it's a filter. It's a filter.
Yeah, yeah. No, when she was going through mine, I was like, that makes sense why I act that way. Got
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
So something else that we discussed, I really, and I hate to continue to bring it up, but I really loved your story about grief, because I asked you like when, your journey with grief. And of
Mhm.
course people can like pinpoint a specific moment. So backstory, when I was talking to Denayja, and when I was introduced to Denayja, I knew that her mother had passed away. So I was like, oh, okay, so we can relate on that. We can talk about that. But she talked much more deeper about it and where her journey actually started with grief. And so I think it's important for people to hear that, because it may have people be like, dang, well, you know what? Now that I think about it, my story with grief started a little bit earlier
Mhm.
than this big specific moment. So if you can just kind of share, and again, you don't have to go through all of it because y'all need to listen to episode 8, but if you could just share a little bit about your journey with grief and when it actually started versus when I thought it started, which is clearly with your mother.
Right, right. So a good journal question. What are the first things you've ever had to grieve? Like, what are the first, whether it's, you lost Little League or, your pet died, or whatever, with a grandparent, like, what was the first time you felt like a loss and you felt like you had to grieve? I think it starts a lot earlier than a lot of people realize, because life is grief, it's an ebb and a flow. But for me, it was when I was 3 and I found out about death itself. I still, to this day. Oh yeah, well, my aunt had passed away, but I feel like this happened before my aunt passed away, but it's also, everything before 7 is a blur, literally. But at some point when I was very young, I was obviously under the age of 7, well under, I think under the age of 5. At some point, they explained to me what death was, and just the reality of like, yeah, I'm gonna die, my mom's gonna die, everybody's gonna die. Everybody, we are born to die. And they gave me that when I was maybe 3 or 4, and I was so.
Started you off young, child.
Yes, there was no censorship with it because my mom didn't have time. She had me at 18 and she was like, I am going to keep you alive. I'm going to help you get an education. I'm going to keep you safe. What I don't have are rose-colored glasses to give you and a false life to maintain. There's no Santa,
Yeah.
no, like, we're not doing that. You
That.
have that, like, she's like, you don't have to pick one. You could eat or you could live in a world of sunshine and roses. You cannot do both. And so that was pretty much that. So yeah, they somehow ended up explaining to me what death was, and I was so distraught. And I just think that, like, even that young, just that sense of like, oh, this is temporary. Like, I understood, like, and then of course you get to be like 15 and you're like, life is long, and like, and all of that,
Right.
but yeah, like, just even that young, I was just like, wait, we're going to lose all of this. And so I kind of grieved life as a just sort of eternal concept, or like vague kind of concept at that young an age, because you're not really aware of your presence on earth. Like, I was having a full
Right.
existential crisis as a toddler, so exhausted. But so me again, Capricorn placements, Pisces moon. Like,
This girl said a full crisis as a toddler.
full. And that's where I'm like, my mother didn't have it. Like, she's like, I'm not going to do all of this with her. Like, it wasn't like a normal kid where it was like, goo goo gaga, I'm going to go play. Like, I was not,
Mhm.
clearly.
To piggyback off of that, do you think there was some grief in that sense of it, of not having that quote unquote normal childhood? Or no, not really.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree with that to this day. To this day.
Mm.
Like, I can't stand a Disney nothing. Like, I don't like animated stuff. I was always like that, and yeah, I didn't have that when I was a kid. It wasn't a part of who I am. I'm an old soul. I'm 100% an old soul, and I don't deny that.
Same. Same. I mean, my friends call me grandma, which is fine.
I know.
My favorite playlist is called Throw Bike because it's like all old school music.
I love it.
Not back, bike. It's just throw
But
bike.
yeah, no, I know. It's so funny. I wrote that on Instagram one day, and my white friend like didn't know what it meant, and like said something ridiculous. I won't even repeat it. It was just like ridiculous. I was like, wow.
That's not it.
Not it.
That's not it. But thank you for trying.
Yes, I was like, it's
I give
actually
her
not bad. I'm like, I'll actually bring it up in group and like see. I'm moving y'all around. Yeah,
I'll bring it up in group.
yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I'll see if we can take it.
You're hilarious. So something else we kind of discussed is Denayja's favorite word she hates, pivot. That was my first and last time saying it. So
Okay.
again, if you so if you listen to the episode, Denayja hates pivot. She hates that word. It cracks me up. I get it. It is like a weird, like, oh, let's pivot. We pivoted 2020. Like,
Yeah. So,
we've
okay.
all had to move.
Really comes from I come from a lot of tech things. Like I've just done a lot in the tech space, and before even this moment, tech was throwing a pivot at you. And it's Janis Joplin says like freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose. Pivot is just another word for do something else. And like you
Literally.
could say that. You could just say that.
Just say it. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, like yeah. But go ahead. Sorry.
Woo! Denayja hates that word and it cracks me up. But we were talking about, when you're in that space of professional grief and you're kind of like, okay, this is where I'm at. I don't really know what to do from here. What do you say to those people who need to, those people, how do you get them? Like once you recognize, okay, I'm in a state of grief and it's because of my profession. How do you get those people, or what do you say to those people who are like, I want to reimagine, but they don't really know how or know where to start because they've never really had to do it before?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've actually had a few people reach. I don't know what happened. I write for this platform. Shout out to them, Mogul Millennial. Great platform. Look them up. But I've written some things for them, and I think some people have like found them and found me, and I think thought that I was like a career coach. I have no fucking clue how they got that for me, but they did.
Because you drop bars, girl. You drop bars.
I'm like, girl, I'm not. Listen, if I were a career coach, let me tell you, I'd be a lot further myself. But no, but yeah, no. I I have told them all to just start with. I mean, it sounds so cliche, honestly, but the things that not just make you happy, but I always tell everybody choose where you want to go based on what you love, yes, but also the bad parts of what you love that you can tolerate the most, and where you see yourself in your future, and like what you want to feel. Like for me, like I'd like to feel engaged. I'd like to feel kind of frantic. I'm very into like a lot of production is very hurry up and wait, like you spend so much time trying to get something and then you'll get stalled, or you do all of this and then it's 2 hours and it's over, everybody goes home. Like there's just so, it's a lot of like and then it just happens and that's it. It goes from being very exciting to very, very slow immediately. Project management is like that, right? You'll start a project, right, and like you're doing great, and then you'll hit a lull. The deadline will get pushed back. It'll get moved up. Like things just change. You lose a team member. Like it's just the constant flow. And I love that feeling because I grew up in chaos. and
It's normal for me.
Exactly. Well, like chaos, but like controlled chaos. Exactly. So I very much grew up in that kind of an environment where like it's kind of nuts, but like we've got it. And that's so much of what production and project management is. So that's what's worked for me. It's just kind of going back to like, how do I like to feel when I'm working? What do I know how to do? And then also not being afraid to try something new. Let me tell you who's not afraid to try something new is Sydney.
Oh, like Erica.
Also you, but Sydney is. I'm like, how many careers has it been? Like I found out
she don't give a dog.
Dance. I was like, you used to, what?
Yes, girl. She be over here having me do full routines. I'm like, girl, I am 32. My hamstring is pulled now because I'm doing a dance routine. Okay.
I saw her doing the splits the other day. She gets on my
nerves. Yep. That's when I pulled my hamstring.
My nerves.
That's when I pulled my hamstring. So yeah, let's not discuss that.
But I feel like she's such a good example of just kind of following a new path and not being so, we're also like married to these titles of ours. And I think you have to be willing to just not be, because that's not who you are, So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, I think you made a good point is we're married to the title of what we are instead of like who we are. So it's saying like, Denayja Reese is an event strategist and a writer. Those are things that she's skilled at. Those are things she's good at. That doesn't necessarily mean that's who she is as like a genuine human being.
Right.
And I think that once you recognize who you are and where you're at, then that can help you reimagine where you're at. Like once I realized that I'm a person who just likes to talk and I feel like I have things to say, and I have been through enough, I would say, to learn and be able to help people heal, because I think healing, or I know that healing is not like, okay, I'm healed. Like, it's not like a cut, you know what I mean? And then you put a band-aid on it, you put Neosporin, and then it's healed. Healing is a lifelong thing. Just like you said, grief is kind of like, one of those things that happens and it just continues to go. So, like, once I figured out, like, this is who I am, this is who I want to be, then that's how this podcast was able to come about, instead of like, oh, well, I'm Lauren, the project manager. No, like, that's something I'm skilled at, but that's not who I am.
Yeah.
And so I think that was great. That was brilliant. It's just, just being in tune with what you want to feel. And for me, I want to feel like I am helping people heal. Right. And so that's why this is something I chose to do. So I think that was wonderful, girl. That was.
I love it.
I wish I had some wine to drink. I can't. I'm on this 10-day cleanse.
That's nice.
I can only drink smoothies and have water.
I think it's really
It's not nice. It's not nice.
Doing that during this time. I'm like, if you think I'm giving up my vices during a pandemic, you're out of your mind. Like, especially now that I've already given up in life. I'm like, you're nuts.
Yeah. It's, you know what? I'm like, it's a kickstart. It's what I keep.
Okay.
That's what I have to tell myself here. Girl, it's a struggle. Trust me. I mean, your
oh.
girl, I'm on day 4 and I almost broke. Okay. 4 and I got 10 days. So just pray for me, y'all. Anywho.
I certainly will.
Anywho, I love that. What was the quote that you said? One of the quotes that you said on the podcast was about how we're our ancestors' wildest dreams, and that Jay-Z quote of what is it? If you could do anything and you didn't.
What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Which I feel is not a Jay-Z quote, but I've attributed to him, and therefore you say it.
It's gonna be a Jay-Z quote, okay? Everybody's. I don't. Oh, what's happening? Sorry, y'all. My computer. I told you I got 20 different devices. Something's happening on my computer here. Okay. And if y'all are here, you can say hey.
Yeah,
come say hey to us, guys. Comment, say hey. If you're on YouTube. Oh, hey, Sydney.
Hi,
what you talking about, girl? Hello. Oh my God! Look, Siri's talking to me. Jesus. Okay. So yeah, if you're coming in, say hey. This is Denayja. She was on episode 8 of this Two Shots Luck podcast, and we're just talking about how to recognize those signs of professional grief, or when you're grieving when it comes to your profession, and how to kind of reimagine that. But we, of course, dove way deeper in it than we have been here. But I just wanted Denayja on because she gave such great points, and a lot of people have just reached out to me to say, oh my God, like I totally felt that. Like I get that. So can you talk about a little bit how you reimagined when it came to this pandemic? Because you have your own event production company, and in events, we out here looking crazy, or we're out here trying to do virtual, or we're just trying to figure it out. So if you can talk about that to maybe give some people some inspiration to say, like, I have my own business. I don't really know how to reimagine. I don't really know how to move it. Like, what can you just kind of talk about it a little bit?
Oof, well, I think, okay, so I think one, you got to play your own ball game, right? To borrow like some sports metaphors, right? Like you got to play your own ball game. And for me, I didn't really have to do that. It depends on where you come from, right? I think some people, they're coming from different circumstances, whatever it is. I'm single, childless, no dependents necessarily, living in a major city, American citizen, all those things, like was able to get on unemployment, just all the things kind of lined up to support me being able to say, I don't really want to do it this way and I don't have to rush to. Some people didn't have those options and had to do what they had to do and reimagine very quickly. And so I think really look at it and see what the truth is for you. If the truth is you got X amount of bills to pay, you got this so-and-so amount to feed, whatever, then you got to do what you got to do. And I think the better you can adapt and by better, I mean the quicker you can get to doing that, the better off you'll be. Just let it go. just let it go. If that means crying, I'm a big fan of rituals. If you need to kind of just, I did do that. I wrote a letter to the career I used to have in like April. And it was just, and more gratitude than anything. Because, I said this on the podcast, but I'll say it again. Like, I had a really great time. Many dreams that I had, what sparked me wanting to do event production was going to Coachella when I was 17 years old for the first time in 2007 to see Rage Against the Machine was reuniting. And so I was like, I got to go. And I went, and it was incredible. And so to go and work at Coachella during Beachella, to see that twice, to work again another year, just like that's one example of just like full circle moment of like, oh, I never thought, And so,
Yeah.
I just like had to express a lot of gratitude for that. And then just say, whatever happens from here, I'm kind of riding this wave. But again, I could do that. So I think if you're having trouble with it, look at the reality of things. I'm very pragmatic in that way. And if it's just like you got to get along and keep going, which I'm sure you probably already kind of had to do that with yourself because we've been in this now for almost 6 damn months. So, a lot of people have kind of moved through whatever. And, if you're having trouble with it, just try to let it go as soon as you can. Give yourself grace. Be kind to yourself. Understand that whatever it is, people are closing restaurants they've had for 15, 20 years, and some of the, just a lot. So give yourself grace. It's like we've been in this for so long, but yet it's been nothing, and I think I said that to a friend the other day. I was like, we're in this weird time where it feels like so much time is passing, but we're talking about a few months here. And 10 years, like that was, what is the last few month block of the last 7 years you can remember, really? So right now in this moment, it feels like so much. So just get up every day and do your best. And if you got to reimagine and go virtual or do takeout or set up the chairs in the parking lot or whatever it is you got to do
what you gotta do.
And if you're like me, where you can take this time to really, a lot of people in my life in particular are really getting reacquainted with self, shedding a lot of layers, doing very deep, real work. And we've been kind of saying, like, we're preparing for the new world in the sense that, like, we'll be the strongest, and that's not a bad thing. And it's not mean, I don't think of strength. I don't think of weakness as like the opposite of strength. I think it's just strength is it's a ebb and a flow and a scale. Sometimes you got a little of it. Sometimes you got a lot of it. Sometimes you got to borrow from other people, And so that's all I can think is I'm like, I'm very blessed to be in a good place right now. I've been trying to help people who are not in those places. Try to keep that circle moving and just, one day at a time.
I love that. So if you're in a space, because again, when you said I'm like 6 months, girl, it's been like 2 years. What you talking about? We've been in COVID forever. That's what it. But that's the truth. That's what it feels like. I'm like,
not even 6. It's just 5. Really, I went into like
quarantine.
March 14th was my like I'm in here now.
Yeah.
So it'll be 5 months tomorrow.
Disturbing. That's disturbing,
isn't it? Meanwhile, my friend in Europe was going to a show tomorrow.
Europe, like, we good, thank you. But again, leadership we have here is quite disturbing. Oh wait, oh, hello, look, hey y'all, thanks for joining. I see y'all saying hey, what's up, y'all? I love that. Thank you for that. That was, I think you're right. Like, there's the restaurant that my brother actually was working at closed. He was on unemployment, it closed. And so you're right. You just have to wake up and decide who am I going to be and what am I going to do? And I think being reacquainted with yourself is really good. I had to, and I still am doing, and, figuring out who I am. And I think, and I had an episode about this, episode 2, I had a counselor on, and he talked about that. A lot of people are having to be reacquainted with themselves or introduced to themselves for the first time, and it's stressful. And so now you have this part of it of like, oh, I have to like deal with me, okay, or I have to deal with my husband or my wife, and this was my outlet. So you have that, and then you have compounded on the fact of professional grief. So like maybe you're in a job and they're not functioning in the way that you would prefer them to function in the middle of a pandemic. Okay. I'm not going to say any names, but I do know that some companies are like forcing people to go back, and, you have kids in school. So there's a lot going on, but I think that's important for your own mental health, is to really decide who you are and what you want to do. So I love it.
Another thing too, I've been talking to pretty much everyone in my life about this. Decide what matters to you. I feel like so often, especially in like the before times, like it was all about what other people thought, or trying to do this for the gram or whatever. And I never had much of that, but I've officially let it all go. I'm like, if it does not matter to me, Denayja Reese, who pays these bills by herself, if it does not matter to me, I can't be bothered with it. And if it does matter to me, then I'll be in charge of it and I'll do something about it because it matters to me. But that has allowed me to let go of so many things. Oh Lord.
What a plug. That's so funny. My next episode is actually talking about letting go, like letting go of whatever it is. Like you said, what's not important, not letting go of the grief, but letting go of a piece that's like holding you back from being able to move forward in life. Like you just have to, like you said, ain't nobody paying these bills over here. Now, if somebody on here want to pay these bills, they're always open.
Listen, if you want to pay bills, you can have a say. We can sit and have a meet and greet. Okay.
If you pay, but now don't be coming up here trying to pay no little $20 bill. I mean, I accept it. Let me not say that. Thank you. However,
there's levels.
The amount you pay is the amount of say. Ooh, bars.
Hey now.
Y'all see, this is how me and Denayja. But what y'all don't know is that me and Denayja were acting like this the whole episode. I was like, Mike, you got to edit this part out. Mike, you got to. Because we were acting April.
Humble though, I love that. The more you pay, the more of a say. Okay.
I feel like I need to like put that on a T-shirt. Like I need to get that copywritten or something.
You can say.
The more you pay, the more you can say. Okay, like other than that. Don't come over here talking to me about nothing, because the answer is always going to be no.
100%.
Okay, so we'll go on a tangent, but last question, because we will be on here all night, because me and Denayja will have a full conversation. Forget y'all are here. We'll be like, oh, hey. Let me just make sure nobody said anything. Okay, great. But last question, and we talked about this on the pod, and I loved your answer, and I know you're not going to give the same one, but I just loved how you worded it. So I wanted to ask it again to see maybe.
Let's see.
Well, no, you don't have to say like verbatim, but like I just liked a lot of the points. That's where I got the Ancestors' Wildest Dream, the Jay-Z quote. Like I just loved it. So I asked Denayja like what was next for Denayja, and I think the way she worded it was beautifully. It's not like a what's next. It's like asking 6 months, but I'll ask and then you can word it how you word it. What's next for Denayja Reese?
Right now, I'm trying to figure out what to eat for dinner because it's so hot and I don't think I can stand in that kitchen.
Denayja.
No, I'm so serious. I am dead off. I'm like, I think I'm gonna.
That girl said I'm hungry. So.
I am. I was at the beach today, y'all. I'm tired. No, so I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna watch.
Meanwhile, in Georgia, child, look like the sky is about to fall.
I think I'm gonna watch Napoleon Dynamite. Actually, my therapist has been trying to get me in touch with my middle school self, so I think I'm gonna watch that. I watched Garden State last night. Anyway, what's next for me? I have a book to finish. If anybody in the chat, whoever sees this at any point, anybody got some tips on finishing your book, I have, I'm on a track. It's hard. Like as I stare right now, I have the tabs open. I'm like, oh my God. But so like once a week, I can get like a good 3, 4, 5, 6 hours of writing in here and there. I'm just trying to get more consistent with it. So that's really it. Like I'm trying to, because everything for me is really tied to that. I'm looking for a job. I really do want a great project management role at a company that I really love and respect, which I know is so hard to do, but that's what I want. So I am trying to manifest that for January 2021. But yeah, beyond that, this book, my book baby, because it's so much. Like once I do the book, it's like everything else I want to do beyond it can happen. So
yeah,
pray for me. If you're praying, folks watching this, please pray for me.
That girl said, if you're a praying woman, man,
put one up for me in this
please.
book. I think it's really going to be great, but I got to finish it.
So there's no rush on a what's next, right? Because we're just kind of.
Yeah, I keep saying we're still in the middle. I mean, I'll tell you what else is next is getting people to vote in this November 3rd, okay, or early if you can. I'm going to
Child.
do some virtual events around that. There's a couple of really important things here. I live in Los Angeles. There's a couple really important things here. Our DA, Jackie Lacey, is a monster. She's fully in the police's pocket. They are in her pocket, rather, both. She's received over $2 million of funding for her campaign, from them for her campaigns for the last few years. So her
Wow.
opponent in this race is George Gascon, and he is, he's not perfect, but none of our leaders are going to be. But he is more than willing to prosecute cops who are killing people, and that's one place to start. And is more than in favor of reallocating funding from the police, not entirely defunding them, but we'll get them there. And then also, yes, on Prop 17, which is here in LA as well, helping people who are on parole reestablishing their voting rights.
Oh, that's good.
So, yeah, so kind of rallying people around like those two issues and some other things, and just voting for Biden and Harris. 2020.
I said what I said. Denayja, your face. Said what I said.
No other options.
Denayja said, "Fight me, thanks."
No other options. Yeah, so that's really random.
Sydney is second. Say that vote in all caps, so I know she's.
Listen,
the,
look, okay, we're not playing with y'all.
I know, y'all. Yeah, y'all basically can be like political correspondents at this point. I just be calling Sydney.
I barely know nothing. Girl, at the primaries, I told Sydney, I was like, girl, I don't know shit about shit. I'm about to go in there.
But the honesty. I appreciate the honesty.
This year, that's why I'm telling people what I think they should go in with, because that's really kind of where it is. And honestly, there's no shame in that. The way our political system is set up, they don't want us to know what's going on. They don't do. And that's especially this administration, which has done everything it can to make this country dumber. Before, they maybe did a little more to get you engaged. But this year especially, they could care less. So I've been trying to just spout it. Like, if you don't know nothing, you know these three things. Okay. You can draw a picture on the rest of the ballot. I don't give a goddamn.
That girl said you can draw a picture. I'm not going to play with you.
I'm going to vote for George Gascon. I know you're going to say yes on a Prop 17.
That girl, so I'm going to tell you exactly what to say. Don't worry about it. I got y'all.
Look, you do whatever you want beyond that. So, yeah, and also, like, doing that, too, like, trying to find proper voting guides for people and stuff. But
yeah,
I feel like we're in the middle right now. Like, there's no end to this. Like, honestly, it's getting worse. Like, I hate to tell you, and we did a good balance of this. I loved listening to the podcast, and just like hearing the balance of me being like, look for yourself, do these things, be optimistic, and also being like, but it's hell in a handbasket outside as well. I feel
legit.
like we have to balance. Legit. And so, yeah, I want to kind of keep that up too. Like, we're in a weird place right now. So just keep it one day at a time. I'm not looking too far ahead, which is hard for an Aquarius, but I'm
yeah. You're cracking me up. Well, Denayja, I appreciate you being on. If they want to follow you, I know you got like several different platforms.
I really
and you can go into your relationship woes.
Listen, no, that's a whole other podcast.
Okay.
You agree.
If y'all listen, Denayja told y'all how to holler at her and what she's looking for in a partner. Well, a little bit.
Kind of, yeah, a little bit. I got the one important part. The one key.
The important part. What you have to have to slide in her DMs. That is what she talked about.
What you don't have. That's really. Yeah, no. So you have it up here at Girl with That Laugh. That is my Instagram. On Twitter, I'm at Girl W That Laugh, but that's pretty much it. Like, if I'm not on Twitter, I'm not on Instagram. Oh shit! Oh my god! Wait, girl. My friend called me at the most inopportune time. She gets on my nerves. I call this girl all the time. I'm doing something.
Tell it happened. You saw what was happening before we got on.
You sit down and all of a sudden they want to talk to you. Anyway.
No one calls me any other time. No one.
Yes, those two. I'm pretty much always on Instagram or Twitter, especially now because I can't go outside. It's a struggle. But yeah, that's it. And I'm single and I'm a lesbian and I'm ready to mingle.
That girl said, holla at your girl. Okay, thanks. Thanks in advance. Well, Boo, thank you so much for being here. If you have not listened to episode 8 of This Too Shall Suck podcast. It is available now on all listening platforms. Something's happening with my computer. I'm just going to keep talking.
Yeah.
All listening platforms. Yeah. Don't know what's happening. It's doing weird things. Not quite for sure. But it's available on all listening platforms. So go ahead and check it out. It's called It's All About the Benjamins. Or is it? You got to do the eyebrows there. It's like you don't get the whole.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I swear I have an
Oh, wait,
box, but I can't move it. Like I can't. I just learned how to wink a few years ago. So
I can't wink. I'm always like.
I've had a theory for a long time that nobody can wink, snap, and what was the other one? Is wink, snap, and there was another one, but it didn't make any sense. It was disproven immediately. I mean, a whistle. I was like, nobody can wink, snap, and whistle. Literally,
I just did it.
Oh, you did! See, exactly. That's what I'm saying. The third person I said this theory to, they were like, and I was like, okay.
Oh my God, Denayja, thank you so much for being here with your crazy self. Y'all listen to the episode because me and Denayja were cracking up some more in the episode, but she was giving me so much
about like romantic grief too, because honestly, I've had so much of that.
Oh, that's happening.
Separate.
Oh, that's happening.
Just let me know.
That's happening in season. Yeah, that's happening in season 2. We didn't talk about addiction, how we bringing that back, unhealthy coping mechanisms.
And you know what? By then, maybe I'll have the book done a little, at least, and maybe I can give you like an excerpt or two or something.
Yeah, do it, girl.
Okay, something.
Well, thank you for being on, boo. I appreciate it. Thank y'all for joining on Facebook and YouTube. I love y'all. The replay will be up, so watch it. Listen to the episode. Give us some feedback. Tell us what you thought. If it's negative or if you're a troll, don't care. Block game is strong, okay? But I love y'all. I will see y'all next week. I'm dropping an episode. It's going to be talking about letting go. And Denayja talked a little bit about that. So I can't wait for you guys to hear it. But love you guys. And I'll see you guys on the next TTS Thursdays. We out. Peace.